And now we will be on the other side, not more in the startup and tooling, but we will go back on a larger corporation with a past attendee who also became a speaker to API's conferences. Well, he will be talking to us about open banking and API. First, the status update at ABN AMRO. It's Koen Adolfs. So Koen, are you able to join?
Yeah, I'm joining.
Yeah, so long time, right? You've been a attendee since our open like API banking in I think in 2014 or 15. Then you finally become a speaker and the thought leaders on the space based on the work you've done. So we're really glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. Looking forward to update you.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. So indeed, Koen Adolfs, product owner at ABN AMRO for both open banking and enterprise integration technology. And that's also where I would like to update you on is how we see that those two stories regarding APIs are connecting, because everybody is talking about the open APIs, but also organizations need to invest in the internal world, and it's often not a connected story that is being shared. And I would like to share the lessons learned at our company. So the topics for today I would like to bring to you is first I will introduce the company a bit. Then integration is business strategy and not IT only. Where are we at, and what's the journey that we've had since 2015? So the first times that I attended the conferences as well. And what can you learn from our journey? And basically that's what you can grasp from the story. So just to update you a bit on ABN AMRO. So ABN AMRO is one of the three big banks in the Netherlands. We have business lines in retail banking, private banking, commercial banking, corporate and institutional banking, largely focused on the northwest of Europe, but also in certain domains internationally focused. All kind of daughter companies as well. And of course, integration is then an important topic within the company to move the company forth. And the main storyline of ABN AMRO currently is to become a personal bank in a digital age. And over the years, you've seen the digital channels that banks are creating for themselves. So of course it started with internet banking, then mobile banking. In 2016 we also started with video banking, and especially during the COVID times, that is a new channel that ramped up rapidly. And next to all this, we have API banking, so APIs that we offer to third parties and our customers to get creative on the systems that we have. Regarding the internet banking, mobile and video banking as well, they need to run on something as well, right? So they need to run on backends. And for all these channels, it needs to be integrated customer experiences, aligned customer experiences overall. So that's also where you then come to how do you build a personal bank in a digital age. And where you want to be personal, you need to build a future-proof bank as well. Because future-proof is something that cannot happen with continuously making point-to-point connections to all kind of systems and all kind of spaghetti that you're creating internally. Of course, you need to think about your architecture within your company. And in that sense, ABN AMRO introduced the concept of the ZAP model. It's also shared to our investors, and ABN AMRO is heavily investing into our own channels, but also offering services via partners and platforms of others. And then the building blocks that drive these channels are, of course, the application programming interfaces. So we define enterprise APIs, which are driving our own channels, and in some cases also the channels of partners, and open APIs, where partners, fintech, big tech, subsidiaries, and customers can build their services on, so become creative. all to boost business, streamline cooperation between teams, but also between companies, and untangle IT. So those are the quotes that we use internally why APIs are important for our company. What we've learned, though, is that APIs is quite a journey for us as a bank, but also for our customers that are using the APIs. And I've shared this slide in the past. It starts with believing that APIs are important and which kind of digital ecosystems they could drive, then understand how to build them, what you need as a company, but also if you are a customer of ABN AMRO and you have a use case, understand how you could build that use case with one of our APIs. Then we need to enable each other to build the stuff on our APIs, create the platforms to secure them, etc. Support both the provider of the APIs and the consumer of the APIs, and only if that's all in place, then people want to change, then companies want to change, then digital ecosystems, the systems are going to drive. And building all this on top of each other is quite a journey, both internally and externally. So what I often share to my fellow colleagues as well is that integration is not IT strategy alone. It's really business strategy. Because everything that we build within our own channels, we could also strategically offer to third parties, to partners, or to platforms of others, so that they can innovate or they can help us to create the customer experiences in different ways. So, for instance, the transaction APIs, where Payment Service Directive 2 is, of course, a good example. We already have built payment interactions in our own channels. And if others can use it, they can build customer experiences on top. So a couple of examples in this case is where we have built Tiki. Tiki is our payments request application, which retail customers can use to send payment requests to friends, but also corporates can use the Tiki payment request to send payments to others. And the technology that Tiki is using is, of course, based on our own payment infrastructure as a company. Then on top of what we've built with Tiki, we offered a API to, for instance, SMS parking. And SMS parking is then sending customers a payment request when they want to park their car at a certain parking lot. But then SMS parking also got to know that those customers are sometimes not showing the right behavior. So they also got in contact with fraud. So a different API that ABN AMRO was then offering was the Business Account Insight API. And using both the Business Account Insight API and the Tiki API combined, SMS parking could create a secure payment flow for their customers and for themselves. One other interesting case which we've learned last year is Iban Namecheck. So we already offer Iban Namecheck functionalities in our own channels, and it's being built with SurePay, which is a Dutch fintech, which is consuming the APIs of multiple banks to see if a name is correct when somebody is doing a payment. So both if I do a payment to ING, I can see if ING's Iban Namecheck or Iban name is correct. And when we offer those kind of functionalities in our own channels to our own retail and corporate customers in mobile banking, internet banking, etc., of course, when you offer APIs as another channel, you need to offer that same capability towards your corporate customers in our case to build in these controls into their systems as well. So next to the business account insight API, we now also offer the SurePay Iban Namecheck API, so corporates can use the Iban Namecheck controls in their payment flows as well. Then next to these cases, DHL has used Tiki in COVID times to better create new payment experiences for their employees and customers when people were delivering packages to their doors. And in the near future, at Dutch railway stations, there is also a new experience being created with Tiki. So a lot of PET bottles were put it into the trash cans, which is not very sustainable for the Netherlands. And the Dutch railways was looking for a solution. And now they are going to build PET gathering machines. With a Tiki payment request, the customer is then being able to get some money for delivering the PET bottle to the machine. Our last case, platforms of others, is a very interesting one. So ABN AMRO has a clearing, ABN AMRO Clearing, which is delivering infrastructures for investments and to do your trades and stocks and building the connections to the platforms needed to do these kind of tradings. And Box is a Dutch fintech offering a trading app. And as ABN AMRO, we offer the infrastructure for them to do so. And even within these, within that fintech app, we offer the innovative capability of doing fractional investments, which is offered in Europe for the first time via this way. So with these kind of examples, you really can see how internal API journeys and external API journeys are connected. So why do our customers use our API products? Because it's offering real-time interactions and data, real-time access. It's offering efficiency, security, connectivity, flexibility, and everything what a corporate wants to improve their servicing towards customers. So if you want to learn what you could build on top of our APIs, I would like to invite you to go to developer.abnamro.com to see all the APIs that we are offering. But as shared in this story, I wanted to update you on how our internal and external API journeys are connected. Because if you look at our architecture internally, you can see that we use our own backends, third-party backends, together with our API platforms. And based on that, we offer capabilities to our own channels and third-party channels. And we use an enterprise service bus, an internal API gateway, and external API gateway to offer these capabilities. And as shown, we have an external developer portal, but we also have an internal developer portal for our own colleagues to find the APIs of the other teams and learn how to build good APIs. So this is how we view as a connected journey, both internally and externally. As shared, we offer the functionality to search for the APIs that teams are offering. We have an API handbook where all the processes are explained, how to build good internal and open APIs. We have e-learnings, we have an API community, and this is often a capability that I have not seen around at other companies. So my advice to a lot of companies is also to look into what is your journey on this path and connect it to your open journey as well. Investing in education, how to build good APIs is very important to build good APIs that developers want to use. But of course, also in the past few years, it has been shown that investing in your security, your platforms, how to build good secure APIs, how do you do your testing approaches, etc., and building those capabilities around that is important. So APIs are good for developers, but it's also very easy to make small mistakes with big big impact. So it's also good for attackers. So building these central API platforms, central capabilities, central portals, etc., also helps us to get a good grasp on the security of the APIs within our organization. Just to give you some overview of how lengthy such a journey might be. Moving towards an API culture is not a one-day transformation. So for companies that are on this journey or starting this journey, they will soon learn that there are quite some topics to learn. So in the beginning, in 2015, you could see that we were investing into service-oriented architecture 1.0. We were doing business process redesigns, but it was all centrally organized. And in 2016, when we needed to open up for PSD2, you already could see that transformation going on, where we needed to decentralize our capabilities towards multiple teams, that they could build open APIs and internal APIs, where we run central platforms to facilitate those. So in 2017, you can also see that that transformation and organizational setup has been changed. And we've been building on top of that over time, to the result that in 2018, we were training a lot of business lines. In 2019, we started to launch our open APIs, but also we could see that the internal API portfolio was growing quite rapidly. And in 2020, new APIs were introduced, and as shared, we also introduced the internal API portal. Just to give some examples of what we've done in the past, but our journey is far from over. So if I look at our current way of working and what's ahead of us, I see that we've launched a couple of new open APIs last year. The use of APIs internally is rapidly growing. But we also see that the way of working and how to develop good APIs and the processes that we introduce to the teams can be improved. So in 2022, that's also where we will invest our time in to really improve in processes for internal teams to build good APIs. Next to that, of course, and that's also already shared by Maddie, for the open APIs, we do see that new regulations and evaluations of the current regulations will come into market. And I'm really looking forward to what that journey will be over time, because as PSD2 was a good introduction for what APIs could be for banking, we also see that it will move to more an open data kind of conversation, where it's not only about payments, but also about how the health industry, governments, telcos, etc., everybody could connect. And where we move into a different world as a continent. So just to finish it off, we are on our way, and what we've seen is that it's really a connected journey where you need to combine your internal capabilities and your external views, and everything that you've built internally in a good way, you could also reuse for external purposes and the other way around. And we are really looking forward to your journey and the learnings, because what we've seen is that cross industries, there's the knowledge sharing can definitely be improved, and these kind of events that API Days is organizing are very valuable to this. But it's also more in-depth studies or in-depth knowledge sharing between industries could be a good journey for when we move to an open data world. So yeah, that's my story. Maybe you can come in again.
Yes, of course, I'm here. I remember you were the first I've seen of, at least on my side. I've seen at some point in the past presentation you said it's versus it's ecosystems, ecosystems versus ecosystems, right?
Yeah.
Do you still think your whole story has been about like killing the ego to bet on the ecosystems?
And I still really like that slides. But it is also very a simplification of how it works. If you just move your ego away, then you can enter the ecosystem. And what we've learned over time is that APIs and investing that into that as an organization is seriously asking for dedication, budgets, resources, and decisions. So it's sometimes also difficult to put your ego away because you need to use those same resources for other purposes as well. So it is a lengthy journey to get from ego to ecosystems in that manner.
Yeah, in Europe, we let's say it's quite advanced on the open banking side because the regulation came earlier than in the US, for example. That's not there completely yet. But the thing is, like when at ABN AMRO, you've seen the shift between it's regulation driven versus it's business driven, right? It goes beyond regulation. When did you feel it?
So in 2015 towards 2018, it was really all about regulation and discovering and trying to grasp what the impact would be over time. Already in 2016, we were thinking about other opportunities as well, by both consuming the APIs of other banks or by giving additional services. And it was a granular transformation in that sense of the mindset. And still, sometimes you need to educate people about what the opportunities are of opening up. But yeah, definitely it is just getting into the journey and showing these use cases, what have been built on the Tiki API and the successes that we've created, also created a different kind of conversation for the other domains within the bank. So by building an API that you are willing to open up and experiment with, it's changing that conversation as well.
So maybe as the last question, what would be the main, let's say, if you have to resume it in one advice you could give for US companies who are not directly imposed to do it by regulation, but at least to do it before the regulation comes?
So if regulation is coming, then so how do you do strong customer authentication, and how do you create a standard approach for that? That has been a difficult part within Europe to implement the regulation of PSD2. It was also very difficult to have conversations with other banks about it because we were not allowed to. And which resulted that we needed to have our own idea on what strong customer authentication could be, what the flow would be, what a good standard for the industry would be, and each industry or each bank needed to do that separately because of the approach in Europe. If Europe is going to open up to other industries, or if other nations and continents are going to follow the example that Europe has done with PSD2, then definitely coming to a standard approach in an early stage about how strong customer authentication is being done next to an API interface, that's really a focus point, because the approach Europe took was quite a difficult one and a challenging one throughout the years.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Koen. We'll love to see you at Apidays London or Paris, which is more, let's say, your time zone. And thank you for being there for Apidays Interface with us.
Cool. Thank you.